Hello and good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:05 p.m. on a Thursday, August 21st, 2025, and I call the meeting on Public Safety and Economy meeting to order. I want to welcome Councilmember Angel Tupola, Councilmember Okimoto, Councilmember Nishimoto, Councilmember Kiaina. Okay, pursuant to Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in person in the council chamber and remotely on each agenda item taken up. As both English and Hawaiian are official languages of the state of Hawaii, pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution, and Section 1-13 of the Hawaii Revised Statute, members of the public may testify in either language. For our testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time as may be necessary will be allowed for the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. Before testifying, each person shall state the name. Each speaker may not have anyone else read the statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify in person will be called upon first. When the timer goes off, please conclude your remarks promptly. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. Once in-person testimony has concluded, I will proceed to remote testimony. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or telephone will then be called upon. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. For persons who are testifying by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When the number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and press *6. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom raise hand button to indicate your desire to speak. For those joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Some friendly reminders and tips: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television and when you're called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. HRS Section 92.3-7 requires that all votes at remote meetings be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. Written testimonies include the testifier's email address and phone number will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. Members, Resolution 25-200 has been canceled and will not be considered. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Also want to welcome Councilmember Wire. Okay, item number 1, Resolution 25-234, urging the city administration to install monitoring devices in flood inundation zones to improve public safety and emergency response during weather and climate-related disaster and events. Here from the administration is Jennifer Walter, Deputy Director, Department of Emergency Management.
Good afternoon, Committee Chair, members of the Council. We are supportive of additional monitoring capability. I think that the emphasis in there of traffic cameras and other devices is important. In terms of emergency response and flooding, I think a traffic camera alone, the value may be minimal if it's dark or it doesn't necessarily alert us before something happens, but the broad language is important to us because it allows us to look at a traffic camera with some kind of sensor or AI on it that could actually give some alert. And as noted in the resolution, it is something that we identified as a priority looking at alerting systems in our hazard mitigation plan. So no concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Members, do you have any questions? Okay, we'll proceed to in-person testimony. Is there anyone in the chamber that is here to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, we'll move on to remote testimony. Is there anyone wanting to testify remotely?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, seeing none, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. Mahalo for hearing the resolution. Apologies, I know Deputy Director just sat back down, but actually I may ask one quick question. Sorry about that. And I think first I just wanted to ask in terms of the feasibility and timeline, if, the reso passes, there's a looking at how we can implement it. Do you have any ideas or suggestions, either whether it's on the budget side, but also on practically speaking, like what it could look like?
I don't have a practical timeline right now. I think one thing is that we would want to make sure that we're collaborative. I know DTS and Department of Transportation were named, but I think we would also want to work with the Weather Service. There are also some groups through UH that have some networks in the ocean, like coastal systems, that I think we would just want to integrate because they're important partners in making sure that whatever we got fed their systems. I do believe that in some grant funding for the next year, which may speed this up, some AI capability and hazard detection was one of the projects we're putting forward. So there may be some funding to support this as it was a priority. But I think without further discussion with those stakeholders, I'm hesitant to commit to a firm timeline other than there are things happening that, and I think makes this not a distant future potential.
Understood. Appreciate that. And just for discussion, Chair, this really stemmed from, the conversation with the community around what happened when we had the tsunami warning. I don't think it's a cure-all for the problems that we're facing, but I know for myself, once I was sheltered in place, we're getting texts from the community, looking for ways we can assess and see what was going on the ground. I was just limited. And, totally agree with and the input from Deputy Director and understanding the need to have broad technology that applies in all situations. But just really being able to have as much technology as we can, whether it's beforehand, assessing situations, continuing to assess, when maybe first responders have to shelter in place so we know, what resources we should be deploying, and then, of course, trying to identify areas that are most impacted by disasters, especially when communications may be down in a particular area. And when we looked at the map, I think there are a lot of city facilities. I'm not saying those are the only potential locations, whether it's, the beach park towards the harbor, and then, of course, various police stations or ambulance or ocean safety locations along the main thoroughfare, the highway. It seemed like a feasible, task, but I do know there'll be continued conversation as well with your guidance on just overall emergency preparedness and response. So mahalo for hearing the resolution.
Thank you. I do have a question. Currently, Deputy Director, how does the city monitor road and traffic conditions during extreme weather events currently, specifically in the areas without the cameras?
So currently, it's a mix of things. A lot of areas that experience flooding are fairly routine, and so we kind of know when the rain, we see a certain number of inches or we're at a certain warning level, that they're going to be problematic. Sometimes it can be anecdotal reports to the community. Oftentimes we might proactively ask HPD to go out and put eyes on the road, especially on the windward side where we experience a lot of those issues. We work really closely with the Weather Service, as well. We have a direct line to them when we're in our EOC, not only what the warnings are putting out publicly to get their take on what's coming, and we share information of what we're seeing in the field to help inform that.
Okay, thank you. Members, any more questions? Councilmember Kiaina.
No questions, just some comments. First of all, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. And I did want to make a comment just in general because I appreciate Councilmember Wyer's resolution today. I had wanted, if you're not aware, a informational briefing today on lessons learned from the tsunami evacuation because we all have stories to share. And we thought we'd share it with your director, who I understand was unable to do a briefing today because he wasn't here. But he also said that one of the reasons was that an after-action report takes about 90 days. It would be good to have that. We didn't ask for an after-action report. What is wrong with us sharing what's on our minds because it's fresh now? So I just want to let you know I'm very disappointed in your director. I've never met him. I don't know who else has met him. He should have the courtesy. There's a lot going on now, but I think if he's seriously committed to the job, then do your job well. And if you can't, then delegate it. And I have full confidence in your leadership, and you could very well have done an informational briefing on that front. And I will follow up with you individually because I have thoughts that are in my mind, especially about the action alert, and I want to share it now in real time before I forget. But anyway, just wanted to say good to see you again.
Thank you, Councilmember. Yeah, I look forward to having that informational briefing. And like Councilmember said, it's really fresh on a lot of people's mind, and there are a lot of questions, I guess, from the community and from members. So thank you. Okay, anybody else with questions? All right, the chair recommends that Resolution 25-234 be reported out for adoption. Any discussions? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, moving on to item number 2, Resolution 25-222, urging the Honolulu Police Commission to improve the selection process for the Chief of Police through the implementation of transparent, comprehensive vetting process and incorporates input from rank and file police officers. And okay, we did get a handout, and it's communication D-652. Okay. Here, okay, from the Police Commission. Hi.
Hi. Aloha, Chair and council members. I'm Lori Foster. I'm the Vice Chair of the Police Commission. The chair would be here, but he can't. But also I'm taking the lead on the search. So we thought it would be helpful if I gave a report on it. This resolution is called Improving the Process. We can't agree more that the process needs to be improved. So we've had a lot of discussion about it. There's a keen sense of urgency here to get this one right, that we've had a couple of challenging situations with the last 3 chiefs. So we're strongly committed to 3 things. One is strong community engagement. We want to make sure the process is thorough, broad and professional. And 3, that it's timely. So when we started this out, we said, why don't we talk to people that have done this? So we've talked to 5 national search firms that specialize in police chief searches. That's all they do. And we've had long conversations with them about the process for selecting a chief. So we've taken all those best practices and we've sort of thrown away ones that may have been done in the past that they've actually said, we've learned not to do those things. So I'll give you a couple of examples. That in the past we have done tests, literally tests for the chief. And they've said, that's pretty, that is for lower level people in the force, that having written examinations on the structure and the policies of a police department, that we've learned that that is a not effective use of your time. We've also used to do assessment centers. And all 5 said, we don't do assessment centers. Same thing. Those are for lower level people. For police chiefs, we do other processes like stakeholder panels. So those are examples of what we learned from these folks. We had to make the decision to hire or not a search firm. So what the council or the commission commissioners wrestled over it a little bit, but not too long. Because we said we cannot wing this process. We have to get it right. And so there are 5 of the 6 of us now that have not been in this process, that have no experience in this process. One has been, but that was the last process, and we all know that one didn't go as well as it could have. Yep. So we said we voted to hire a search firm. So the process, if we had been able to get a search firm in July, the process would be done by the end of the year. But we can't do that because we have to go through the process of getting a search firm. And we have to get that right too. So what we've done is in this summary for you, I'm not gonna run you through every piece of it, but please know that the structure is like highly structured. We've really tried to think it through. In July, we've done a lot of information gathering, just really talking to these firms. We've started the BFS process. You should know that we're actually in the process right now. And this is hats off to the city folks, the mayor, the managing director, BFS, DHS, have all supported this very much. So our RFP, request for proposal, is now in BFS. We're hoping it pops out of that in the next week, okay? That's actually, compared to last time, that's exponential, and we're really happy that the city has helped us get to that. But, you know, you can sort of see, once you get, you've all done this, once you get the RFP out, it takes 30 days, and then you have Q&A for 15 days, and then it goes on and on until you can actually hire the search firm. There's negotiations that have to, we hope it doesn't take this long, but we wanted to manage expectations, yeah? So we're hoping that, and I think it probably is quite real, that we will be able to contract a search firm by November. Every search firm that we talked to said minimum 4 months to do this right, maximum 6, okay? But now we're in the middle of the holidays. So it's actually not bad timing because, and this is where it gets important for the community engagement and the engagement of our officers. The first phase is all about discovery and engagement. And if you read some of those steps, it's all about the consultants come here, they talk to all the people that are important to talk to about what you want out of a police chief. They will do surveys, although the union has actually done a great job with a survey you all saw 2 weeks ago. We love that, it's very professionally done. We may not have to do that again, but the search firm may say, we've missed some things, we'd like to do a little bit more, fine. But we've done a lot already, so maybe we can shorten the process. But that whole first phase 1A is discovery and engagement. They're here for a month, probably. And they're talking to you all, to the mayor's office, to the prosecutor's office, whoever we all think is the right people to talk to, they will be engaging. The point of that is to get what are we looking for? It can vary along a big spectrum of what kind of leader do we want? Do we want a participatory leader? Do we want a collaborative leader? Do we want a strong directive? What do we want? And get everybody's input on that. So, and then you can, from there, they do their searching, right? They don't just throw out, they come up with, here's what we're looking for, very professionally done. We've seen a number of them. They not only throw that out, but then they go search. These people know the police community. They go knock on doors, as search firms do, right? We have a great opportunity for you, so they search. Unfortunately, the holidays are in that process, right? So in that first period, these search firms are saying we usually get 100, 120 applicants. They said nowadays, because this position is not necessarily the most popular position to have anymore, we'll probably get 40. So once you get to 40, then they do in phase 2, their sourcing and their screening. They get it down to maybe 10 to 15. They do really in-depth screening at that point, and then they come out to Hawaii with the 3 to 5 people that go through the real process, okay? And that's the very in-depth process where they go through stakeholder. This is another opportunity for the unions to get involved, the officers to get involved through stakeholder panels, et cetera. So that's a pretty thorough process as well. So again, we'd like to shorten it if we can, but realistically, it's probably March.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Is there any questions? Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much, Chair. Aloha, thank you for being here. This is some thorough work. The months from August to November strictly are things within the city we have to do. So it says 1 month because the RFP has to stay open, then another month because they have to select the RFP and then 1 month to distribute it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that can be cut down, but I'll talk to BFS about it. It's nothing you guys have to do.
Yeah.
It's just something that the city goes through, and I don't want us to be the reason why anything durates longer than it needs to.
Yep.
And then for November through March, which you have written here, it's very thorough. But to your point, because Shopo just did the survey about what people are looking for in the chief, and as well, they have the commander survey they did last year that had a lot of good information, specifically hundreds of pages. So I do think that hopefully once the firm is hired, that can kind of like expedite it. And I'm not trying to say, let's do
Sure.
a junk job. I think we've just asked this question so many times to the officers, and they've been very clear on what they want. So again, when the firm is hired, we'll make sure they have access to all the things, because I do think that they need to just get down to the process of some of the stuff that I suggested in the reso. But thank you for your good work, and thank you to Chair Silva as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Totally agree, by the way. Totally agree.
Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. And I appreciate Councilmember Tupola's leadership on this. Since we have you here,
Yeah.
and the survey came up, and then you have your experience, which we very much appreciate. I'm curious, in terms of picking a chief, are there certain things that you could speak to of, what you would be looking for? I mean, earlier you mentioned the consultant looking at different aspects, whether you want the directive or collaborative, but even if it's broader than that, like what would you say are really important qualities for a police chief?
Yeah, it's interesting because we did a lot of interviews ourselves that the culture of the police is changing, so that strong command control, do what I want, do what I say, is changing as you get the new police, cadets and things in. So this more a combo of strong leadership, very strong leadership, with collaboration, communication, engagement, understanding what the folks want. Those two things need to coexist. And so the old school, do what I want kind of thing, it doesn't cut it as well now. So we're looking for, I don't know. The search firm has to do their due diligence. I'm just giving one opinion. But it kind of has to be both now. You really have to engage the people. But make decisive decisions and hold people accountable. That was huge. That was one of the big ones that came up with our evaluations and things like that. So I'm sure there's more if I thought a little bit more about it.
No, I appreciate that. I'm very decisive, but able to empower folks, collaborative, understanding, empathetic.
Communicative, both internal, external. It's a tough job.
Definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else with questions? Want to welcome Councilmember Cudero. Okay, we'll move on to in-person testimony. I know we have two signed up, so Nicholas Schaupak from Shopo, followed by Jonathan Fry. Yeah, from Shopo also.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chair Talbot, members of the committee, my name is Nick Schlepak. I'm the State Board Treasurer for Shopo, and I'm a 17-year veteran of the Honolulu Police Department. And I'm here today to express our strong support for Resolution 25222. We're in a critical moment for public safety in our state. We have 3 out of 4 police departments that do not have a chief of police at the moment. They are all actively searching for a candidate. In fact, some of those candidates are probably vying for the same position in 3 different counties, the same candidate in 3 different counties. And I can tell you that we have 2,000 members combined in all 4 of those departments that are, for lack of a better term, they're afraid that the system is going to let them down in that selection process. Now, for too long, the process to hire a chief has been done without meaningful input from those who know best, which are the men and women who are the rank and file officers of the department. And this resolution actually changes that. So for the first time, frontline police officers would have a real chance to have their voices heard, and that's important. And also, for the first time, the commission will have the opportunity to benefit from the knowledge and experience of hundreds of policing experts, which are their own very officers in this county. Now, we did a survey of our members to give them a chance to speak up about what they'd like to see in a chief and what they feel the challenges of the department are. And in a strong, unified voice, we found that they made it clear, our members made it clear, that they want to be heard by their chief and by their city council and by their police commission. And they don't need someone who will do what they say. They need someone who will listen to what they have to say. So we ask that you show that you're serious about making sure that the input from our frontline officers in this county is not just sought, but used in a way that will help hire a strong leader, someone who will rebuild this department into the law enforcement agency we know it can be. I've also submitted written testimony, and I thank you for the opportunity. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Members, have any questions for the testifier? Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much. Aloha, Mr. Slapak. Thank you for being here. I'm looking at the survey online. For those of you who haven't seen it, Hawaii News Now did put it up there, and I believe a link to it. One of the questions you guys asked are what are the 3 most important leadership qualities? And then in your testimony, you wrote that you believe that they want somebody that has the insight of a beat cop, somebody that knows the in and outs. Did you guys, because I didn't look through every question, did you guys ask the question about what they think the highest rank is that somebody should hold that's the chief of police?
Do you mean to say what the highest last rank was before they were promoted to the position?
Yeah.
We did not answer that question. Typically in the Honolulu Police Department, if the pick is internal, the rank was of captain or above. However, in Arthur Logan's case, I do not believe he ever held the rank of anything higher than detective.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring that up because, again, I'm looking through your survey, and that's part of the morale, right, is that officers believe that the person who's leading the department has that on-the-ground experience, but also managerial experience within the department in order for them to have a good breadth of how to lead. So thank you for the work that you guys have done, and especially once the firm is chosen, please work hand in hand with them so that we can push this along. You've already done a lot of good research that they're going to need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, anyone else with questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Jonathan Fry, next.
Chair Talba, members of the committee, my name is Jonathan Fry. I'm the Shopo Honolulu Chapter Chair, and I'm a 15-year veteran of the Honolulu Police Department. Out of respect for your time, I'm going to keep this real short. I'm here today to ask you to please pass Resolution 25-222. I represent the officers who answer 911 calls. They rush into danger, protect residents, investigate crimes committed against our people so that victims have a voice. And up until now, they've had almost zero say in who their leader will be. They've been forced to work past bad decision after bad decision when it comes to hiring the chief. They deserve better. We can do better, and Resolution 25-222 makes this a reality. Taking some lessons learned from the last process, it lacked transparency, it drug on, leaving our officers uncertain of what their future held, and it provided little opportunity for officers' input, and very little input that we had was at the very end of the process, which we all know had very little impact in the final product. This resolution fixes that. Specifically, this resolution calls for a process that uses officer input to define what a good leadership looks like. It requires thorough vetting, including reviewing references from those under the command and union representatives. And it also integrates the findings of the Staffing and Retention Task Force. These are common sense measures that will strengthen the Commission's decision and restore confidence within HPD and the public. Our members are a treasure trove of information. They want to be heard and they want to help. So please pass this resolution. Shopo stands ready to support the process and honors our department and the voices of its members. Thank you very much.
Members, any questions for the testifier? Okay, I got one. Can you explain more about, you said the lack of transparency. What do you mean by that?
Specifically, there was little information put out regarding the process or what qualifications the previous selection process was looking for in a chief. And that was probably the chief complaint from our members is they wanted input. But we didn't know what the qualifications were. We didn't really know what they were looking for. I know it's going to be different every time there's a selection process for a chief. We are very pleased that, with the idea behind this resolution and that we be able to put our voice out there as well as share the information back and forth so that the stakeholders in this process can actually be heard.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, is there any other person in the gallery that wants to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, we'll move on to remote testimony. I see Austin Salcido online. Mr. Salcido, you can go ahead.
Aloha. Can you folks hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. It's not Austin, but it is Calais Salcedo. My computer is charging up. The reason I, wanted to put my input on this, the community, the police officers are first responders in our community. They hear the complaint, they hear everything. So when they take it back to the commissioners or everything, we need the collaboration. We don't need someone that's going to turn around and I understand, do what I said, do what I said. So it's communication and collaboration with the police officers that's in the committee that sees everything. So, and as for, I'm just so distraught in how things are going and how, so much power that the city has to make decisions, but the decisions should be within the police commissioners and to the best of, the ability of who qualify, but make sure that best of the ability who qualifies also communicates with the union and everything, because it doesn't matter who you put in there. It's the communication and not the power of authority misused. That is very important. Listen to your, the unions, listen to the people, your community. It's not the power of authority, because believe me, I've seen the power of authority when police officers is against and try to help the community or get answers. And they can't because they've been told, oh, stay out of it. They are there to serve the community. They know the well-being and safety that the community is faced against. So to be a chief and everything, that's very important. It's not a dog and pony show. It's not a hush-hush. It's collaboration, because it's the island safety you folks are dealing with. So that's what I have to say. It's the community and listen to them. But the other issue we have is some of the younger ones nowadays.
Ms. Salcido, can you wrap up the testimony? Thank you.
I will. Some of the young ones, when they get the badge, is misuse power of authority over that badge. So they need to be trained on that too. It's not about power. It's about respect. That's what it is. Community respect. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Salcido. Anybody have questions for our testifier? Okay. Is there anyone else wanting to testify remotely?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for hearing this this resolution. Thank you to those who came in and testified in person, and thank you to the Salcedos for testifying in support. I did some due diligence after the last chief was chosen, and they did collect resumes, but I was concerned that there wasn't a full in-depth background check references, meaning that some people submitted resumes that were very fluffy and other people's didn't, but that doesn't tell the whole story. So I am in favor of doing a thorough check of whoever the applicants are, asking their coworkers, their colleagues, their supervisors, how does this person work under these circumstances? But more than that, I just feel like in the last few months, I've really felt for these officers, not only just with the vacancies, but their safety, their mental health. We need a leader and we need somebody that's going to advocate for them. I literally get stopped by police officers everywhere, and I'm like, I'm not your advocate. But I try to be, but I feel for them because these guys are putting themselves out there every day. And so when they don't receive communication, I want them to be communicated to from their leader. And I'm not saying it's not happening now. I'm just saying that there's much feedback that we've gotten that have alluded to the fact that as we move forward, we need to consider that. So with that being said, I appreciate SHOPO, but HGEA also represents our dispatchers and some of our civilian officers. And if it's okay with you, Chair, I wanted to make a verbal amendment because they do want me to add in, because it's not just uniform officers. So in the title, I'm moving to amend it to say rank and file and civilian employees of HPD. So it's in the title. So it's going to say input from rank and file police officers and civilian employees. Then if you look at the second whereas clause, is it the second whereas clause on page 3? So on page 3, hold on, I'm finding it. Page 2. Where is it? Everywhere that it says rank and file officers, I just wanted to add and civilian employees. I'm scanning.
Second.
Yes, thank you. So, sorry, you guys are looking at me confused. Do you want me to say it, or are you guys good? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chair. Small amendment, but I want to make sure that everyone that works within HPD, including ununiformed officers, are also have their voices heard.
Awesome. Councilmember Wire.
Second?
Okay, yeah, I think we second. Okay. Anybody else? Discussion? Okay. The chair recommends that resolution 25-222 be amended to a CD1 as discussed. Any discussions? Any objections? Oh, Councilmember.
I'm so sorry. I was, I meant to say something earlier. So first of all, I just wanted to thank Councilmember Topola for this. It's critically important. And thank you to everybody who gave mana'o on this. Equally important, in my view, toward improving the selection process is ensuring that we have qualified police commissioners. And to that end, I do know that one nominee was taken off today, but we also still have the replacement for Kerry Okunaga, and then Ann Botticelli will be terming out at the ending of the year. And why is that important? It's clear that we're going to have 3 vacancies. So I implore everybody who has a mana'o on this to also provide mana'o and present qualified candidates to the mayor and his chief of staff so that we could move forward expeditiously in getting these nominees presented to the council and moving forward. And I have confidence that we will have robust discussions on that front, but we can't just have a process. We need to have commissioners. Yeah. And we're going to be short commissioners. So I'm just asking for everyone's kokua. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read this off again so that we good, and then we clear on our side. Okay, the chair recommends that resolution 25-222 be amended to a CD1 as discussed. Any discussion, any objections, any reservation? Okay, then the chair recommends that resolution 25-222 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hear none, so ordered. Okay, the chair recommends that resolution, sorry, that's it? Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 4, informational briefing, an update from the Honolulu Police Department on its media relations practices and public access to information. And here from the administration is Interim Chief from the Honolulu Police Department, Roddy Vanek.
Aloha kākou, everyone. Chair Toba, Vice Chair Kia'aina, council members, mahalo for providing me with this opportunity to present to you today. sorry, just logging into my tablet here. All right, thank you. So today I'll be providing you with a presentation on the police department's enhancing public communication. These are initiatives which will show how we're exploring digital tools for better community engagement. This will show you our current and upcoming projects. The Honolulu Police Department is committed to improving public communication through digital platforms. This presentation will explore the department's initiatives to enhance transparency, engagement, and information dissemination. So while the intent of Bill 46 is to enhance public safety through timely access to emergency-related information, we believe as currently drafted, it exposes HPD officers to significant safety risks and undermines individual privacy rights. The HPD's existing and evolving transparency measures will provide meaningful public access to emergency information without compromising legal or ethical standards. This slide here, you can see that there's 3 key points to Bill 46. The first key point is that the Chief of Police shall adopt and implement a strategic plan and internal procedures for the timely release of public information to the media and the public. For this key point, the Police Department supports this key point. For the next key point, without reading it, basically what it says is that we shall enter into a written agreement to provide our radio dispatch. I think I've testified in the past that we do not support this key point the way it's currently written, but we support the intent. And the final key point is that the Chief of Police shall provide an annual report talking about the department's media relation and personal training. We support this key point. HonoluluPD.org serves as the official website of the Honolulu Police Department, providing a central hub for information, resources, and updates. The site is designed to be user-friendly and accessible to all members of the community. On the website, you can find information including arrest logs, current active calls, our crime dashboard, traffic advisories, traffic highlights, investigative highlights, and wanted persons information, just to name a few. This information is available to the public and is our public website available to everyone, including the media. Besides our website, the Honolulu Police Department actively uses social media platforms to connect with the community. These platforms allow for real-time updates, public safety announcements, and engagement with residents, fostering a sense of community involvement. It strengthens community connections. It has fast public alerts, and we use multiple social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, TikTok, and an application that Nextdoor, which is very popular within communities. We're working on a number of future projects, but I'd like to highlight 2. A key future project involves redesigning a unified information page that consolidates important resource and updates. This page will streamline access to information, making it easier for the public to find what they need. Additionally, to support Bill 46, we are working on a text message alert system designed specifically for media professionals only that will provide near real-time notifications of in-progress incidents. This alert system is almost completed, and we hope to release it in the near future. I know it's a little small on both on the screen and on your handouts, but this here is a screenshot of the media landing page that we are currently designing and will be located on our public website. The portal will include calls for service within the past 24 hours, social media feeds, traffic highlights, wanted persons, arrest logs and highlight summaries, news releases, and email contacts for our public affairs office for all media inquiries. This will be a one-stop shop for anything and everything the media will need, all in one location. And we anticipate this actually to be done by the end of the month. So as you can see, the Honolulu Police Department's digital initiatives represents a significant step towards enhancing public communication. By leveraging technology and digital platforms, we are fostering transparency, improving access to information, and building stronger community relations. Do the council members have any questions?
All right, members, questions for the interim chief. Councilmember Cudero.
Thank you, Chair Tolba. Hi, Acting Chief. Thank you very much for your presentation. Would you be able to expand a little bit more on what the media landing page will be used for communicating to the media?
Thank you for your question. So right now, we have a bunch of all that information currently on our webpage, but it's all over the place. And some of the information is buried a couple clicks deep. What we want to do is create a page that the media can go to, so it's all in one location. Another good thing about that is it'll have all of the information for our growing public affairs unit, and that information will all be in one location too, so there's no guessing as to who do I call. It'll have all of their information, all of their pictures, all of their contact information, so it'll be just really a easy one-stop shop, all of the information that the media will need in order to get information, figure out who they gotta contact, all in one really easy package.
Thank you, Acting Chief. And does that include the press releases and even the different Instagram or X notices that do go out when there is something like an emergency that's occurring?
Yes, exactly. So it will include all of the press releases that we actually actively send out to them, but it'll have links to those. It will have links to all of our active social media, besides the ones that we already post. Anything and everything will be all on that one page.
Thank you for expanding that. And thank you, Chair, for allowing me to ask some questions.
Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Acting Chief Vanek. Thank you for being here. And I really do appreciate your efforts, you and the department's efforts in trying to find a happy medium based on what we've been discussing and deciding on. I had a question on the future projects page, and this kind of goes along with what Councilmember Cordero was asking, possibly. You have under the consolidated information page featuring a new 24-hour historical incident log, along with the press releases. Could you explain how that works? I'm just trying to envision what this would look like. When you say historical incident log, what types of incidents are we putting on there? And if it's 24 hours, when are they put on? To what extent, and the details? What information will be on the site?
Thank you for that question. So right now we have an active call for service log. What it does is it lists the type of call and incidents that went out and what the disposition was. So what this will be is it will be that type of call and what the disposition was, and it'll go back 24 hours. So people will be able to tell what the call for service was and what the incident type eventually turned into, and then what the disposition was. And we'll keep that as a running log for 24 hours. And the reason why it's only 24 hours is because that's a lot of information, so that's a lot of storage and data space. So in order that we don't bog down the system, we'll keep it for a period of 24 hours, and then it'll refresh.
That's what I was wondering. One thing is, how much are we putting on here? So does it go on exactly as it happens, or you are doing it at a certain time for the last 24 hours?
Yes, I think we're still trying to figure that out. Typically what other departments do is they refresh it a certain number of times. So what we see other departments doing is they'll typically refresh it maybe 4 to 6 times. So maybe refresh it at like 12, 6, 12, and 6 as an example.
For 24 hours.
Yeah, so
and
that's...
sorry, thank you. That doesn't have any type of personal information that would
Yeah, typically it doesn't. So what it would typically have would be the incident type, the classification, the partial address, and then usually the final classification, and typically that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. And right below that, you have the CAD text notifications for the media only. So I know one thing that the media expressed in our previous hearings was that, I forget what the show, but as it's happening, live time. Is this what we're looking at here, or what type of time are we looking at when these text messages would be going out?
Yes, thank you. So this is exactly what you're talking about. So this would be modeled after what the Honolulu Fire Department is currently doing. I think in a previous testimony, when KHON general manager came and she had talked about, we really like what HFD is doing. What we did much prior to that was I met with Chief Howell and I asked him, hey, I know KHON, they really like what you're doing. Do you mind if we take a look? He said, yeah, no problem. So we took a look. He shared, gave us actually access to that. He provided us with a link. We looked at it. We gave it to our IT people. We took a look. We modeled our system after what they did. And basically that's what we came up with, so.
Okay. One of the questions / concerns I had when I did hear the media asking for that, the calls that you guys take tend to be slightly different from what HFD takes, where they're going into a rescue or a fire, whereas you guys are usually going into a crime scene of some sort. So with these types of text messages or notifications through the CAD, does that impact or hinder or make it more dangerous for your officers and for the scenes by having live time text messages going out?
Yes, thank you for that question. It actually does, what we don't want is, we don't want to provide exactly live time information because we're getting sent to shots fired, people actively fighting. Of course, the fire department is getting sent into some kind of hairy stuff too. I mean, fires, but fires, I mean, you can see the fire far away and the fire is usually there. It's not gonna jump out at you where a bullet can come and, jump out at you literally. So we do want the media to stay away. And also, I mean, there are some individuals out there, not our professional media. I mean, they're trained, they're professionals, they follow certain rules, but there are some other individuals who they don't have the same professional courtesy and follow the same guidelines that our traditional media do. And they'll go where they probably shouldn't, right? So those are the type of people we want to literally also stay away from the scene. So while I'm okay with providing information, because as I've testified in the past, the media, they're excellent partners. They can get in touch with people that we can't. We want them to spread the information when we're busy doing the things we need to do. But I think there needs to be a little bit of cushion. So maybe not real time, but as near to real time as we can get.
Thank you. I want to thank you again for all your efforts, and hopefully we can continue in the discussion, working with the media and the department. I just appreciate, it's not been, was it a few weeks ago where we had the other hearing, so I thank you for taking the proactive approach and working with other departments to see what you can do to find that happy medium again. Thank you, Acting Chief. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Kiaina.
Thank you, Interim Chief Vanek, for your presentation. Last month, you guys, HPD appointed your new communications director, Claudette Springer. Is she here? Is she here in the audience?
She is not.
Did she help in putting this together?
Yes, council member, she did.
Okay, and I guess I'm trying to better understand what her role is. It would be nice for us to meet with her. I've only heard good things about her, but I think part of communications is not just working internally with HPD and with community stakeholders, but getting to know us a little more.
Definitely, Councilmember. I'll make it a point at the next meeting. I will make sure
Yeah,
to bring her with her.
It would be
with
good.
me.
Okay. And can I just ask in general, what are your expectations and what role are you envisioning her playing with regard to strengthening HPD's hand at communications?
Definitely. Thank you for that question. So my expectation of her is to come up with a comprehensive communication plan, both internally and externally. We are currently growing our communications team, and I want to make sure that just because we're growing our team, I want to utilize them effectively. I want to know what their roles are going to be. One of the biggest complaints that we've had from the media, from the commission, from the council, from the commission, from the public, is that we don't have timely information, or we don't provide timely information. From the media, we don't have 24/7 coverage. Some of the information that we give maybe isn't enough. So all of these complaints that we're getting, we as a department, we need to make sure that we're responsive to those complaints. So my expectation of her is, hey, we know what the complaints are. We need to do a better job. We need to come up with a plan to address those complaints.
Thank you. And of course, I have every confidence that she'll be working also with Shopo as well. So she hears their manao. And I think another good source of information for her to get an idea of what's going on the ground is we have HPD at all of our neighborhood boards. They know all of the questions that come up, and perhaps someone could pool all of their manao of what they hear on the ground, share maybe some information that the community believes is important, and just overall help her as she's entering her new role. But wishing her and HPD all the best.
Mahalo, thank you. If I could add one thing real fast, and I think Shopo would appreciate this, is one of my biggest pet peeves as an employee of the Honolulu Police Department, and one of the things I told her was my priorities, is internal communication. I always used to hate, and I still do, but I think it's one of my priorities, is I used to hate finding out information as an employee of HPD, finding out information, and no disrespect to the media, information from the news. Why am I finding out information about my own department, not from my department? That's wrong. We should inform our own employees first before we find out from the outside. So one of the things I told her is, we need to do better. We need to come up with a strong communication plan to notify our employees about what's going on.
Absolutely, but I would just have to say conversely, you guys cannot leave her out of the loop, right? You
Guarantee.
cannot leave her out of the loop.
Guarantee.
You need to have trust in her of a high level of confidentiality, that whether it be the leadership or down the chain of command, that people respect her and they value her role and what she could do to help all of you. Thank you.
Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this amended comms plan, as well as maybe what's coming in the future, could suffice what was going to be proposed in the bill. I don't know if that's what we're moving towards, or if the bill is going to align with this so that we can actually have information shared with the public more readily, but not information that is pertinent to just officers, and especially people's personal information, their addresses, their names, all of those things that really shouldn't be released to the media. Is that kind of the direction we're going with this step?
Yes, definitely.
And I guess just to add on to Councilmember Kiaina's thoughts, one of the things I struggled with, and I just see you guys doing a really important revamp with comms, you guys need to have written communication. Like, I often have to argue with the major versus the officer versus somebody on what the policy is, because I'm like, who said that to you? Oh, well, so-and-so told me that. Okay, where's the written communication saying this is what the chief asked to do? Not because I'm trying to double check. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all clear on what the what the directive is. One directive specifically that I'm talking about is how to use overtime. It was very unclear. Should I use overtime? Should I not? Oh, I can't use it. Oh, if I do use it, I get promoted. Oh, if I don't use it, I just write a memo and say exactly what is the directive of the chief or whoever's in charge. Then everyone just follow it, follow the memo. And I know that she'll probably work on that, but I know you guys do videos and vlogs and whatnot, but written communication, oftentimes, no discrepancy. Just read it, follow it. If there's a question, you can email and ask a follow-up. Is that something you think you guys could do?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Interim Chief. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Before I go to in-person testimony, if there's any, or oral, I have just one question. Are you actively, HPD actively like working with the media to come to making improvements to what you have already?
Yes, so next week, August 26th, we actually have a media roundtable at our station. It will be myself, my 2 deputies, all of our public affairs team. It will be, I believe, all of the major media outlets, their, I think general managers, their leadership team. We'll be hosting them at our station, and then immediately following that, over the next month or 2, we'll be meeting with them individually so that we can cater what their needs are for each individual station, the newspapers. So we are definitely meeting with them in an effort to build and strengthen our relationships with them, find out exactly what their needs and wants are. Then we can also express to them what our concerns are. We really want to, like I said in my presentation, foster that relationship.
Thank you. And then maybe when that all finishes up, we can come back and do a recap. Thank you, Chief. We'll move on to in-person testimony. Is there anyone in the chamber that wants to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, now I'll move on to remote testimony. Is there anyone?
Chair, there are none.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, mahalo everyone for attending and participating in today's meeting. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.